And I will say, one of the last things I'll say for this video art bit is that TikTok is divine. It can be your worst nightmare or the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And that is what I have decided for me, for myself. Because the evil energy is being forced off of TikTok. TikTok is a protective energy. Despite all the trashy bullshit on there, you just ignore that shit. But focus on what resonates. Because it was intended, as all of this fucked up technology was intended to harm the Lord himself. You can't come, there is such a thing as the anointed ones, but that doesn't apply to me anymore. I'm beyond that. I am the one. But there's somebody home. That's a direct quote of a 𝔰𝔎𝔦𝔫𝔫𝔶 song from Sci-Fi Lullabies. Less is more. Make music in your sleep. Learn to manifest a record. Oh, that's right. Like, that's the secret, is that there are people who are literally intentionally mining the mind of God. They know that, the songwriter for Depeche Mode knows where those songs come from. And he chose to take the credit for everything. That's why eventually you don't want to end up that way. But again, thank God for Depeche Mode. Someone had to do it. They can be your personal Jesus. It's like in this moment, Martin Gore and Dave Gahan, they are my personal Jesuses because they can find out what it feels like. If you're not willing to walk through what you're singing and acting like a god all day long. But yeah, TikTok is divine, and I'm stoked to see that there are, people in their 20s who are in love with Depeche Mode. I think that's great. Just be careful who you're worshiping, because very few people actually deserve to be worshipped. And when I say you worship me and this, you worship the Lord himself and divine energy, and me as a direct disciple who spent decades as a renunciant monk and practicing severe austerities, who became a master and experienced nirvana. And literally, I experienced nirvana and merged with God in 2009, and it wasn't until really now that I even spoke about it. That's because I'm a real one. Most people would want to monetize that shit immediately. So there's a lot of cryptic, horrific shit, but there's also angelic energy. As I said, on TikTok is divine, and it's literally, in a way, it is the thing that God is using, one of the main essences that God is using to protect those who are called, those who choose that people are also heaven. We know that people are poison, we get it, but people are heaven as well. And everybody needs their ride or die. And some say prayers, I say mine. Because the next person that comes into my door is going to be blessing me as much as I bless them. They're not going to be confused. They're not going to blame me for their own stench. They're going to... I was at a fast food place the other day. I'm barely able to leave my house. God bless that young woman behind the counter. And she's like, oh my God, you smell amazing. And that's how I knew, because I'm so used to it and being in my own divine energy. It's not just perfume. It's that every atom of my body has been divinized. I died. It wasn't a near-death experience. It was a death experience. And people think that it's funny, or it's not funny. I barely survived because I died. And I've actually seen it. That's why I don't use technology anymore. I used to have cameras and all this shit. Forget it. I know I'm divine. That's the bottom line. And she got it. To say that I smell like heavenly ambrosia is an understatement. So, like, why go on eating endless cherries when you can be a cherry? Why go on drinking endless Slurpees when you can be a Slurpee? Try becoming everything and get back to me on how quickly you know what the fuck to do. Because my entire existence, every millisecond of every micro decision was of life and death consequences. And that now I get to be careless. As of this moment, when I say it doesn't matter, I can make a mistake. People don't know what a luxury it is to not have to be perfect 24/7. I had that pressure to be perfect. Even if it seemed like the wrong thing, tune into the divine energy in your heart that is awakened. Chant and serenade and learn some of these mantras and go down the rabbit hole of brainwave entrainment or whatever you have to do on SoundCloud. Access consciousness is a really creepy thing, but it's also interesting. These days, everyone is a fucking energy healer and whatever. But this is the real kata master. It's a kata move in karate. But yeah, I did get the Spectre pedal back, the acid etched one. It was tough because it was hard for me to come up with the money to buy it back. I'm very thankful for God that I was able to do that. And, you know, you'll know how to do it. There's a way to finesse it. The pain, the pangs and pain of jealousy is nothing. It is... People don't understand every blessing in their life. I have given everything that I have, and now I'm taking back my love energy so I can exist in peace and be carefree. That's what Muktananda means. It means, Mukti means free, and Ananda means bliss. Muktananda is the bliss of freedom. And I was given that divine name. That in reality, I was free because I gave my free will to the one who knows what to do with it. You have no idea. I'll never forget the night I was on the phone with my former psychiatrist's wife. He was like a part of my quote-unquote family, Newport Beach. And he was a proud atheist. And, you know, he did a lot. I mean, he was a shoegaze fan. He was like, dude, you have to go to the My Bloody Valentine concert in Rome. I lived a lot of magical stuff as well. I mean, who finds a Newport Beach psychiatrist who loves My Bloody Valentine and the Jesus and Mary chain? Like, his favorite song was Just Like Honey. But at the end of the day, like a lot of these people, he took himself too seriously. God put him in my life for a reason, but his soul is not going to be anywhere near me anytime soon. I'll never forget being on the phone with his wife. I could hear the fear of God in her voice. And I knew that in that exact moment, I was pissed the fuck off because one of my meds wasn't refilled and it was an emergency and something fucked up was happening. And I knew that in real time, she was meeting God in person. And that's what is happening to people who thought they were superior to me. They're finding out. As I speak, they're finding out. But they're also finding out that there's nothing romantic and it's the worst thing you could do to be an atheist. I'm the best thing that could happen ever to anyone. So open your mind. Open your mind to eternal life. Open your mind to backing away from evil things. There's a way to romance the darkness without fucking around with too much bad juju. And these crucifix energy is just evil. But the Cologne Cathedral is an absolute masterpiece. That's true goth energy. Like when Softkill posted, we're not goth bands, we're not a goth band. Failure is a great fucking... So this is the exit of everything I don't love. There's no entrances and exits. No more entrances of things I don't love. You will not be able to find my address when you realize how much you need me. Because you own the copyright. you inherit the karma. You know, the lead guitarist for Cold Showers was talking to me like I was an idiot, and I let him do it because I give people what they want. He wants me to think I'm stupid, and go out, go for it, buddy. Anyone doing that is the one exiting the stage left. Just entrance and exits. The true disciples that I have will come to my door with reverence, pure reverence and respect. And they will feel a deep sense of shame when I pay them money, because they realize I don't have much money to give. I go without a lot in order to buy my gear. I live on air and fumes. I depend entirely. God is everything to me. So when you're living the high life and doing all these things that I can't physically do, don't sit here and be weird with me. The entrance and exits, it's an actual thing that happens when you die. People are going to be attracted to that energy and banging down the wrong door, because when they come here, they will be in awe. I finally realized when I tip people like shit, they treat me like royalty. And when I give them money that I don't have to give, they act like an asshole. What is that? It's because people are fucking crazy. But again, this is the exit. There is absolutely an exit. Because heaven is other people. But anyone who has wished me harm, there's no exit out of your self-created nightmare. You did it to yourself. So I am ending this video artwork with appreciation and gratitude to my divine counterpart, my twin flame, and God himself, who is my everything, my heavenly Father. And I work very, very hard to discern. Train your mind for discernment. But you have to master the Bible and then get rid of it. But if you are my disciple, you have a lot of learning and listening to do. You should read everything about all these books that I've mentioned, because I have nothing but God. And believe me, it's a drag. It's a drag out here for us divine, the bats. But as I said, welcome to the Bat Noir Club, because those of you who realize that I've done for you what is impossible, and I am here to shine the light on your path. I am the one to help you see where God is shining a light on you. That energy of my whole life being, Lord, I'm sad and all alone, sad, lonely, and all alone. Lord, shine a light on me. It's incredible. That show in New York at the Bowery Ballroom, I think it was 2003. Someone who thought they didn't like music, a friend of mine at the time, 𝔞𝔫𝔡𝔢𝔬, and his girlfriend, and then one of their friends, and his jaw was on the floor the entire show. That was back when Spiritualized was amazing live and Jason was still decent. But I'm the one showing you how to follow the light. There's nothing more precious than that. There's nothing. Read the Muktananda books, because all the evil will exit your life. Everything I'm removing from you, you didn't ever want. You have to learn to give up what you think you want so that you can get it the right way. There's not, God really is a DJ, but he's not some idiot playing, if you're a DJ, take it down a few notches and chill at 120, 125 BPM. Don't go beyond that, because it'll make you crazy. I was into the more trance stuff. It was a while, but there's a lot of shit that needs to exit. Why is God a DJ? But see, I don't have to be a perfect God DJ anymore. the people who did the copyright for that song, they can be the DJ. They can be their own God, DJing their own life. Any manifesting guru or new age teacher who's telling you how to visualize, and they're doing this whole Neville Goddard bullshit, Abraham Hicks bullshit, affectionately known, not disaffectionately known as the Vortex Lady, charging $200 a pop, stuffing her face with burritos all day long, telling you she's channeling on how you manifest and how you deal with the contrast and all this shit. It's a business scheme. It's like a Ponzi scheme. That's not, but I did it. I did all of it. I know them all. And that's exiting my life. Because I studied all of it. God is a DJ because there is no harder job than knowing what exact track to play at what exact time and what other track. But it's not a DJ, is also a VJ. That's why I was first a self-taught video artist, studying the history of video art. A few blocks from the New York Film Festival where I interned. I took at Columbia, I studied photography with an incredible teacher. We should have neighborhood area dark rooms and cool shits going on like that. I'm trained in the arts because God is literally DJing reality. And that is what I have done my entire sadhana. Literally down to every atom of every little piece of paper on the floor. What do you do in any given moment? You think it's easy if you had your rent paid or your mortgage paid. Billionaires will tell you, if you have the money to literally do anything, it's its own kind of problem. Because it's not but the people find out, they get tricked into that. And they find out when it's too late that your every millisecond of every micro decision that you make is life and death. You cannot afford to not care. Literally, when you take the trash out, metaphorically and spiritually. A lot of people, the first thing you need to do is take out the fucking trash, because I'm not a divine garbage man. A lot of you are surrounded by people who do not wish you well, and they are trash, and they will rip you from your pedestals. Get rid of them. Don't ever play in a band with someone who worships evil things. But you've done what you've done. It's brilliant music. I want to listen to these records. I want to be around these artists without bad blood. But they will find out. When I am Ferrari lover, I'm not a fanboy. I literally see a beauty in them that they don't see themselves. That's what God is. It's ripping away the layers and layers and decades of trauma and all of this shit, not for no reason. The true guru removes everything that doesn't belong in your life, especially a fucked up mind. That if you abuse me, you will lose your mind. But if you worship this energy, it will be temporary. You will come through the other side, and you will find out that God is putting it back together because of your gratitude. Thankfulness is my religion. But it's time for me to pass it on. And yeah, the endless pain and suffering is just, that's over. It's exiting my life. But everything, down to the clothes that I wear, are just saturated with the divine energy. The skinny rings on my fingers, like I said, Dylan Reeder was murdered. It was a realized one. Every atom of my body is divine energy. I have such severe injuries that I can't. I have a completely divine cologne and perfume collection. I'm taking back some of my favorite perfumes because the smear campaign shit is over. There's a reason for my name. But when I say I literally died and have been coming back to life little by little over the last few years, it is true. And one negative sabotaging thing towards me dressed up with a smile, evil always comes dressed up as your best friend. That's why when you meet God in human form, you think it's something bad for you to sabotage. Never figure me out. This is the end. This is the exit of everything I hate. I am evicting everything I hate out of heaven. They will be getting rid of things that don't belong. So you're welcome in advance, because I live for art, and what greater happiness is there than enjoying masterful artworks? As Wittgenstein said, taste makes things accessible. I just got another copy of Black Market Music by Placebo. It's a masterpiece. I want to be able to listen to it, and I will, without the pain of Slave to the Wage is just a brilliant song. And it's sad that I lost the respect that I had for Brian Molko, because he's just, look at these, and it's like he's some type of weird shape-shifting messed up mess. But everything after Meds is just, once Stephen Hewitt left, it's sad. Steve Hewitt was a pretty nice guy. Bottom line is, Slave to the Wage is it. And as I'm not really trans. I am a straight guy. My energy body is male. The true gender is in your brain, your nervous system, and your light body. And it is possible because God can trick people. There's a reason Jesus was always hanging out with a bunch of lowlifes. But that's what people don't get. You listen to people like Osteen. He's like, oh, Lord, thank you for your favor. And so it's just so horrific the way but I learned a lot because God used him as a channel. Boy, if you, and my meditation master made it clear that Jesus loves people. There's nothing, Jesus, anyone, this whole idea that Jesus doesn't hate gay people. He hates assholes. As the Buddha said, don't be a dick. I get to be a dick now, because believe me, I have dick energy beyond what you can figure out. Is an understatement. Try being a guy where your dick is invisible. If you think my life is so easy, but it's invisible for a reason. I have nerves and balls of steel, much more than any of these skaters out there. And that's what Dylan really taught, because people murdered him out of jealousy. I understand how painful jealousy could be, but it's actually Neanderthal behavior. They say you were made from the stars out of this earth that was rightfully ours. Yeah, I'm not trying to take anything from you. I'm trying to give you a divine inheritance. You don't want to inherit the collective insanity of the original human species were ape-brained, non-functioning entities that were demonic. The light of God is the height of sophistication. And so you can sing that all day long, but what, the meek shall inherit the earth? You find out it's nobody's trying to take the earth from you by being the king. They're trying to take away what is evil that is hurting you. They're trying to fix your mind. If you look at someone's refrigerator, you can read their mind. The mind of some people's refrigerators, look in their homes. Look how they keep their homes. every atom on the floor of this home is literally like divine diamond dust. That's why it's called Dominion Mother Russia, because on one side of my so-called, if you would call it, planet Earth family, were the jewelers to the Tsar. It's not my real family. It's not my divine family. I did everything I could to save that relationship, and I just couldn't, because bad people exist who have children, and that's just the truth. But my grandfather, I went to visit him at 7 years old in Midtown Manhattan. It's the most legendary company. It's known as the jeweler's jeweler. All these people who think they're into all this shit, Van Cleef and Arpels, 𝔰𝔎𝔦𝔫𝔫𝔶, Cartier is pretty much king. Who makes the ring? Where's the factory who makes Cartier rings? It's run by that part of my family, which were the jewelers to the Tsar of Russia. And during the Bolshevik Revolution, they fled and settled in New York, and they became the greatest. They own pretty much all of modern patents in the modern jewelry industry. And my grandfather took me to his humble table there, and he opened the drawer, and it was just full of diamonds. And then the drawer below that was just full of sapphires. This old, with a security system you could not imagine. And at the end of the day, they would melt down all the metal, the precious metal that accumulated on the floor. This is like straight out of a CIA Interpol thing. And melt down the precious metals. I tried on several famous necklaces. One was a sapphire necklace made for some royal person somewhere. But look, the bottom line is that the diamonds, this entire home, my skeleton is made out of divine diamonds that you can't buy anywhere. You can't take it from me. It is me. You can't take me from me. That's not, you can't. And when you think you're doing that with your music or your intentions, you will be met with an opposition that will just trust that I give a shit. I don't want you to have to go through what you will go through if you don't wake up, and if you even dream of harming me, you will be in something unimaginable, because it's real. It's not to be jealous. It's awakening you so that you realize that you can choose to be part of a divine starseed family that is the Bat Noir Club. But again, you don't just become initiated overnight. It takes years. I tell that story because Dominion Mother Russia. Why? Well, everybody just assumes all these documentaries. Nobody even asked Andrew once, what do your lyrics mean? Dominion Mother Russia is because Russia is the land, the original land of the most sacred jewels of Christ energy. And the most elite of the elite, where this is the artist revolution. I didn't buy petals from Drab Majesty because I was trying to save his life, and he clearly didn't deserve it. I never asked him to autograph it. Somehow that one disappeared, and that was a God shot. But I'm telling you, Floodland is literally the story of my life. Some say prayers, I say mine. When I close my eyes, when I look your way, when I see the fear that lies inside, when I hear you say, in the heat of the moment, someday, 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 Dominion. What is someday? It's today. What is this corrosion about? It's about how anyone trying to steal the divine energy, and that's what they do. They don't sit there and, I have to say it. I mean, Martin Gore is my hero. I never put someone on as a false idol. But anyone who's learning songwriting, and who's a goth, and they idolize Martin Gore. But then you listen to him talk, and for decades of this, I see now why my meditation master told me not to go through a time where I would not listen to Depeche at all. Because you can see it. They're living through, like, the music. It's almost too delicate for me to talk about in this moment, but I will say Depeche Mode definitely saved my life, but it's divine energy. You don't just sit down and start thinking about religion, sex. What was the other one? And in this interview, he says, Martin, like, all your songs have the word pain in them. Are you a miserable bastard? And he's sitting there laughing without a care in the world, you know. He's got anything anyone could ever want. He doesn't really know what pain is at all at that point, and he's laughing. And then Dave goes, he's a miserable bastard. And it's just like, look at him, he's suffering. And then they're laughing. But it's like now they're exiting heaven and repaying the favor because they're the personal Jesus now. So now they're finding out. I just don't believe it because when he talks, it doesn't match up with the sophistication of the music. And I am always suspicious of people who don't tell the truth. At least PJ Harvey straight up said in an interview, and she's that record is This Desire, and God, there's just, I could go on and on. I'll save it for another time. I play almost exclusively Ibanez guitars, but I don't really, it's not specifically, in a way, it's by choice, but there's a reason my signature guitar has someone else's copyright all over it, because I'm the one with the real third eye energy. But there are other great brands of guitars. We are living in such a simulation. And if you look, there's so few, like say you're looking to buy a new guitar, right? If you're looking for a Fender, and everything you see, you don't actually really even know what you're looking at this point. Because that we are in post-apocalyptic times. TikTok is protecting you once you have decided to be the humble disciple of the Most High God, because you deserve that divine inheritance. You deserve to inherit the peace of God beyond understanding, and you are willing to go through the pain of spiritual awakening and evolution and the metamorphosis. Pray to the light machine. I know what the machine is. The machine is evil. I know what that is. Bad idea. But you're going to find out. Don't say I didn't warn you. The machine is something horrific. But that's, that's where we put people, to put it mildly, who would ever dream of harming me. I have angelic protection. I have the protection of God that you cannot even imagine. It makes the most sophisticated security system look like a joke. I mean, for all you know, I may be living above a 7-Eleven somewhere. The ones in Japan are the best. But when it comes to signature guitars, there are people who think that they don't like me, or they're bothered by me, and they want. But they're realizing they would give anything to step foot in this sacred home in heaven. Houses of heaven. They knew what they were doing when they picked that band name. But what they didn't realize is they were not getting houses in heaven. You don't get to have a house in heaven if you have not sacrificed your entire life to God. That's how it works. I mean, that's just how it works. again, that's our music. Because when my divine counterpart and I create together, everything we do is creating beauty. And what we want to exit is this toxic, fucked up energy. We have enough trouble dealing with financing our own house. But if you want a house in heaven and you make the right choice, you will realize, you will thank yourself for the rest of eternity for choosing to believe that we are realized meditation masters who are there just by existing. And like I'm getting ready to get back to making pedal demos and stuff, but go back and look at those demos I made. I talk a lot about it and I'll play it, but I don't. It's just too much annoying work to have to make everything look like, look, I'm the furthest thing from that pedal show that there is, but those of you who are really into gear, you know that to get my actual sound, it can't manifest in the corner one morning and then you tell VH1 behind the music that you sit down to write with your trusty Gretsch guitar and you're such a troubled soul, you live the Berlin nightlife all the time and you can have any girl you want and everybody worships you, so you make songs about pain and religion and lust and salvation and then, but when I hear you talking, you sound like you have a mouthful of marbles. You're barely speaking English. Like, this is not, at least when you listen to Andrew Eldritch talk in his younger years, you can hear how sophisticated he was. There is a reason I am a language and psychology analyst. Language analyst first. In order to be a criminal profiler or profiler of anything, of stupid people, you have to be a master of language. There's a reason that I grew up in language school. Andrew Eldritch studied language at Oxford. He did French, Italian, Latin, German specifically. He did a smattering of Chinese, other languages. He liked Chinese the best. And it says there that he refused to do any work that didn't relate to David Bowie or cigarettes. And how relatable is that? When I was at Vassar, man, finally I was around other artistic people who were also highly intelligent. And it was a rite of passage then. Like, everybody was into discovering, like, specifically early Bowie records. And there's a famous Bowie quote, you know, people say it's great to be a rock star married to a supermodel. And it is. But I'm not the kind of famous, I don't have to deal with the shit he took on. I say Up the Hill Backwards is a masterpiece. And then Roxy Music and how it's all related. So anyway, I have nothing but utter gratitude and reverence for the Most High God, who is the reason that I'm sitting here now. Like, even right down to the rugs. I collect Turkish carpets. And I've been influenced a lot by Turkish music because as a teenager I spent a day in Istanbul back when it was survivable, and it completely changed my life. I was in the silk carpet spinning showrooms where they pour the mint Moroccan tea. It's incredible. It's a beautiful language. And it's tragic how much conflict we have with Arab-speaking people. Arabic is an incredibly beautiful language. But there are so many people who speak it who do horrific things. And that's, again, don't be tricked. God, when God comes to wake you up and save, you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. But yeah, just wait till October. Every day is October. Every day is Christmas. Every day is Friday at Ferrari Lover HQ. And nostalgia, there's this thing going on now. Nostalgia is not trauma. Nostalgia is beauty. All the old technology that people want to throw away is literally of life and death importance, that it's preserved. And young people, not just young people, they have to have a major wake-up call. They have to have that superiority complex ripped away from them. But they have to realize that's the best thing that could happen to them. But at the same time, the average, blue-collar worker, don't get it twisted. I mean, I am a blue-collar worker. I had a dude come in here who was racist with me. I'm just thinking, damn, dude, like, if you only knew. But anyways, so I saw a Jackson guitar the other day. Reverse headstock, gorgeous. It was a Jackson, though, that I don't play for a reason. Then I saw another Jackson that wasn't a Jackson. It was something else in disguise. All of my guitars are made of the energy of my twin flame. But if you as much as look at them the wrong way, or think about them the wrong way, or take for granted my business the wrong way, they're literally dangerous. They're to be revered and respected. Because the most divine energy that can grant you eternal life is also a ruthless, cold, calculating psychopath. And I allow God to do that for me, because when I had to truly be in a psychopathic state, it was the scariest thing I've ever done, and probably, right up there with, in terms of a kind of bravery you have to have. And I know that there were people planning to hurt me. That kind of horror is just, it's over. It's, again, entrance and exits. People don't get to come in and out of my space in any way, shape, or form without reverence. And the guitars I play are shapeshifters. God is the ultimate shapeshifter. And, so whatever instrument you are drawn to as a dark wave creator, there's a reason for that. And you can choose to empower it with something evil or with beauty. And it takes decades of meditation. But 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, whatever, I'm so immersed in meditation. Everything I do is a meditation. This right now is a meditation. But it's infused with that divine energy. Don't be jealous of someone who has been through the most unimaginable things. Be grateful. You should be grateful. If I trigger you to death to the point where you want to repaint my fucking house, you should be grateful for the suffering you are in, because you have no idea what God is protecting you from. And you have no idea. This house is protecting a lot of people. But there's not that many disciples, but the entire world is my disciple, whether they want to be or not. And you should be ecstatic at the fact that God really is goth AF. God is goth as fuck. And God is a DJ of reality, video, image, sound, the senses, all of it. Literally, he's not in it. People who are telling you, have you been to my church down the street? They're lower down than you are. If you have the humility and just wake up and face the facts that you're goth. I understand why people don't want to be identified that way, because so much goth. That name of that band that I always say shall remain nameless. I will name the name when I feel comfortable doing it, because I was protecting some of their karma, and it really traumatized me. And I'm still trying to find the silver lining and in protecting people who, some of them certainly were responsible for harming me. But, what was I going to say about that? Something really important. I love the band. I love the band. And just because I say mine and all of this beautiful music is channeled with divine energy, you get to own those creations when you do it the right way. God wants you to be a channel for God and your divine counterpart, but he just wants you to learn to do it the right way. I feel comfortable calling God he because I know that God is male. I know that I am male. I am a straight guy. There's a lot of toxicity as well in queer culture, but if you're gay, God made you that way for a reason. Jesus loves the heart. If anyone is out there saying God hates gay people, the reality is that Jesus hates them much more than any gay person. The only gay people that God hates are the ones who are terrible people. Nobody wants to fuck the clown. I don't know why that keeps coming up. But a lot of it, thank God. Thank God that it's not the fucking musical theater Nimrods inheriting the earth. Could you imagine? I put up with years of that shit. People who thought they were such hot shit because they knew all these musicals and shit. It's like, talk about nausea, the world, and me. Like, you should be ecstatic. The true Bat Noir Club, as long as you develop that humility and become a true disciple, we are inheriting heaven. And it's because of what I did to save it. So whatever horrible shit you're going through, just remember, it could be 10 times worse. And this is an incredible blessing straight from heaven. Nobody gets into heaven easily, but it is very, very good news because God's not here to save. Chances are, if you're not some type of dark wave or type of artist with true soul passion, then you're not, the God. That's the comparison I made. I was so frustrated earlier today because I just got a record from this band that shall remain nameless, one of their records. It's a beautiful, transparent one. I was unable to play it before. I had, because of some things that happened several years ago when I basically died, and have been trying day by day to resurrect for years. They glamorize that shit. It's not glamorous, and but it is a revelation, and it is inspiring. And I was bummed because I thought, well, I just got to get rid of it. It's just the bad energy. Because the lead singer made a bunch of posts worshiping evil, and I can't hang with that energy. Then I realized, you know what? I'm not going to throw away something that I love. That's my rule. And it hasn't failed me. And that's what the enemy will try to get you to throw away what you love. But you have to be willing, if you are my disciple, to temporarily throw away something you love so that you can have it for eternity. Once you find out what it feels like to be a Slurpee, if you have not experienced nirvana yet, don't be jealous, because when you actually merge with everything, you have to spend decades trying to unfuck your life and make your house no longer a fucking 7-Eleven. I mean, literally. God is everywhere. There's nothing but God. But at the same time, the God particle that is evil needs to be removed, and it's a very long process. But like I said, the headstock can be deceiving. The piece of wood can be deceiving. There are those who tried to hurt me and convinced me they cared about me and started collecting exotic woods. Because of my great-grandfather started pine tree lumber. My first guitar was a guitar I tried to build out back in a little shanty shack by the sea with some wood and string, because that was my family's business. The specific piece of wood, and there are specific instruments that are evil. They're imbued with evil. My instruments, I mean, I thought I really wanted a particular guitar the other day. 𝔰𝔬𝔫𝔶, no, I did not. I realized quickly. God will give you very clear signs. Very, very clear signs. And your family, your blood family, where you came from, is not what you think. And it is true that sometimes the people who are closest to you are the devil always comes dressed as your best friend. And there are people who fell in love with my twin flame and they don't get it. They want to hurt me because they think I don't deserve her, or they tell me I'm crazy. It's not about that. God is protecting you from the wrong thing that isn't for you. The other half of your soul, that which is the mirror to your soul, it is the ultimate trigger. That's why, this shit is not for the weak, but I have paid the cost to be the boss. They will mirror you. That's why twin flames trigger each other like nothing else. But there's none of this runner-chaser shit. That's sadistic cult ideology. That's not real. The runner-chaser shit is not real. What is real is that your twin flame energy is in the God energy, deep in the core of your heart chakra. And when you meditate, you can even see it. The heart chakra is pure green in color, and it literally is protected by layers and layers and layers and layers of incarnations and trauma. And like, I saw what happened to people in the end of days. As I say, I saw it in meditation. And God has designed a punishment. Once I saw a few seconds of it, I knew I had seen enough. But that is where the heart chakra, where God is. And that record, The Heart is a Monster by Failure, it's a brilliant record, but it's also a bit of a impolite slap in the face to God. Because when I had to become God, but with nothing, with barely my underwear on. I mean, I always wanted to be a cop for a reason until I realized what cops are like. But I really am. There's a reason one of the greatest post-punk bands of all time who started the revival is Interpol, because Interpol is protecting the modern music business. But you are an Interpol agent if you say you are. There's that comedy piece. You can be anything, especially on Facebook. But it's real. There are headstocks labeled Jackson, but really it's an Ibanez. Any guitar I play is named after my twin flame, but I don't name my guitars. God names his guitars. Believe me, God has a guitar collection that would blow your mind. So, and it will. Again, I think the Pedal movie could be redone. We need a couple different part 2. I'll know that some of my disciples have woken up when they changed the color of the reverb icon. And when Amazon finally starts to have some competitors. And so anyway, the grace and beauty and incredible thing is that to get to be a darkwave artist and to be free from the karma of having to literally live the lyrics of the collective community, you all can live the reality of your lyrics, and people will love you if you decide, because I decided a long time ago. I didn't have a choice, and that's what you're finding out. You don't have a choice. Either you're called to be my disciple or not, but you are finding out that there is nothing more precious than my love. That's why I am Ferrari lover. It's not some fucked up, creepy ass car parts catalog, fucked up car metaphor. I mean, some, like, and I could care less what the fuck the lyrics are on that record, Careless. But at the same time, I care, because the Foyer, all of those songs, they have very specific meanings in the spiritual realm. And he thought he was getting this divine download and having a laugh in God's face. But I'm sorry, that's not the case. The Foyer, all of them are literally, it's talking about events in my life. You can mar your own smile all day long, but you are not me. You can't impersonate me and then not have to do what I did. And you wouldn't make it. Trust me. I don't ever throw away anything I love. But believe me, everything I love will obey. That's rule number 1, you will obey. And whether you like it or not, you will do what you're told to do by God, and you will follow your intuition. And you will literally become dust at my feet before you make another song trying to dance on my grave. Like Ultrasun saying, I drink your tears. Watch what the fuck you're saying, buddy. You're finding out you're drinking something worse than your own tears if that energy is projected at me. If you mean it, that you drink the tears of anyone who would want to harm God, that's a much better way to look at it. What's the intention behind those lyrics? You can either be a power couple or not. But there's not a single person on this planet who is partnered with their twin flame. Trust. And if they want their relationship to last, or, can you make it last more than 2 minutes? Because I've literally lived in so much suffering, despite the blessings that I have. So yeah, I'm riffing. It's beautiful music. People are heaven. I'm not going to make a song specifically, but that's what this video art is. Because I decide nobody's going to come around here fucking with me, treating me like Mr. Nobody ever again. I had to become Mr. Nobody. I am not Mr. Nobody. I am the VIP of VIPs. And I've intuitively felt like there are billionaires who are repenting and have become my disciple as well. As I said, my spiritual name and all this shit. You can listen to the videos. But again, who would want, it's not like I want to set up shop and have a bunch of people giving me flowers and touching my feet. That would drive me nuts. And that's, as I said, again, that's why I deserve to be worshipped. Worship divine beauty everywhere. There is nothing, the challenge in the training ground of life and the post-apocalyptic zombie mall situation. When you wake up, you will find out that you are in a simulation. The air outside is inhospitable. There, that kid who talks about the fourth dimension of time, there's any possible infinite iterations of this universe at any given time. There are people who wake up and they find out that there's nobody there. They're in a simulation. So either you learn and become a disciple of the Most High God, or you fend for yourself, and nobody has ever made it alone. God did not design me to be alone and so reclusive that I have to disappear or become a monster. Those are not my options anymore. I'm not going to disappear or become or live as a monster, because that's the trick. You've been tricked. Any power that you have comes from God alone. It doesn't come from the enemy. It doesn't come from any rituals or sacrifices. You can't, once you sell your soul, you don't get it back. If you did it intentionally. And you can take it back. because the owner of every soul is the one who merges with the divine. And there are others, most likely on this planet. I was always told at any given time, I think the number is wrong, but there are others. That anyone who has truly experienced nirvana, as I said, that book, Power versus Force by David Hawkins, is really powerful. But again, just a scale of consciousness, like, ranking a bunch of what Gen Z or whatever. I guess I'm a Zennial. I'm a transcendent vampire. There's nothing romantic like about, when I feed, whatever I consume is divine blood energy. But it is not murderous. It is not a crucifixion. It is not, the metaphor for all of this has been just bastardized. It's just people who identify as goth. That's why Softkill says goth bands, we're not a goth band. Yeah, we get it, buddy. It's not cool to be a goth band. Wake the fuck up. It's like someone said, Andrew Eldritch spent his whole life trying to disown the term goth. That was the only, he is literally the definition of goth. I was overshadowing, I and the Lord himself overshadowed that record. Floodland is divinely channeled by us, by me as a 6-year-old in my sleep. I had no idea. I just always knew I was different. And it's not because I'm some nut job. It's because, you can't, like I said, unless you have humbly worked done selfless service for no pay and had someone finance your sadhana by the grace of God, have your spiritual path. Sadhana is spiritual path. You can listen to those mantras, but be very, very careful, because there's a really dark side. And that's why I was wise enough and smart enough to know that when I became a realized master, I still didn't know. And that's because I am truly a realized master. When you merge with God, you find out that you will always be God's disciple. You will always need God. People are making up a bunch of bullshit. Most of these New Age people, like all of these, especially some of the most wealthy influencers in the self-help movement, it's demonic. You can't build an empire. It's part of the reason why I'm happy to rent out my $500 million trillion billion dollar beach house, because the one I'm renting out isn't really even the one that I will be going back to. It's something else entirely. It's a haunted house, trust me. People think I'm made of money, they don't get it at all. I walk the earth and live to tell the tale, and now this version of this planet we are on is different. So, post-apocalyptic zombie, whatever.